Hey guys, it's Nhaaga and I'm back with another, I guess technically called speed build. This isn't for speed build Sunday though. This is just kind of for my random videos that I do on Thursday. Just kind of allow that day to do basically whatever I want. So I saw this on Twitter and this is a build challenge from Rory, and I'll have a picture of the kind of inspiration house and the layout that she wanted to do at the end of the video, so you can see they're really fun. I think it's fun to do stuff like this, so I tried to keep as close to it as possible, and you'll see I kind of struggle throughout the build on trying to make it look as close as I could. So, and in the inside decoration, this is the first time I did this, so I didn't know what was allowed and what wasn't. So it is a little plain. It's not necessarily my style a whole bunch, but just kind of wanted to get a basic feel of it first before I went crazy with it, basically. So I called it the old beach house, which I feel like it does look kind of old-fashioned inside. So it is on the gallery. Of course, my gallery ID is below, and the hashtag is on there as well, so you'll be able to look at other entries, for this challenge yourself, or if you want to do it. I highly recommend that you do. I think she does one every month, so I'm going to go back and do the other ones too, because stuff like that is just so fun for me. It's just something different, and it really does challenge me to learn new things and try to do new stuff. So anyway, but that's enough about the build. Like I said, if you watched my last speed build, I do not like to talk about the actual build. I'll give a few little things here and there, but I just think it's boring to just sit there and watch someone talk about the build for 30 minutes, however long the video is, and I just don't want to do that on my channel. So I'd rather talk about myself, which sounds a little ridiculous, but I think it's a cool way to network and get to know different people. So I have some topics written down today. So I was going to talk about my chinchillas. I think I have time. So I mentioned in my last speed build that I had chinchillas when I lived with my parents. And, it was a really spur decision to get a chinchilla. I went to a pet store in my city, and they had a male chinchilla. And if you've never seen a chinchilla, they're adorable. Google them. They're kind of like a squirrel mouse mix. They're really furry and they're super fast and they jump really high and that kind of stuff, but they can be used as pets and they live 15 years. So I thought it'd be a really fun experience to have a different type of pet. I had hamsters in the past and that kind of stuff. So I went to the store and I bought him, and I think he was $50, and of course I got him a really nice cage and all that kind of stuff. So as I was doing more research on chinchillas, I kind of learned that they're big and they like to have groups, that they have a hard time being alone, because in the wild they are in groups all the time. So I felt bad that he was alone, because I did work a full-time job and I was going to school, so there wasn't a lot of time I could spend with him, and so I felt bad that he was alone. So I wanted to get him a friend. So they don't really sell girl chinchillas in pet stores or anything like that. You'd probably have to buy them from a private breeder, because they can be a little more territorial and they could be a little more aggressive. So I figured, well, I'll just get a boy for him to play with. So I found on KSL that somebody was selling a boy white chinchilla, and white chinchillas are a little more expensive and they're a little more rare. So this chinchilla was only a year old. So I named my first chinchilla, which he was great. I named him Bandit. And I went and picked up this other chinchilla and I let my niece name him, who she was 4 at the time, and she named him Olaf from Frozen because he was white and he was cute. So anyway, so I had them both for a few weeks and they definitely got along. And a couple of months went by. I got him in July, and this was quite a few years ago. So a couple of months went by and they were friends and everything worked out. Well, one morning I woke up and I was checking on them, and I look in, the cage just to say hi to them, and I see this like weird small little thing in the cage, and it was like pink and tiny, and I honestly thought that it was like a rat, and like a baby rat or something, and I thought the chinchilla had like killed it or something. So I like ran into my mom's room and I was like, Mom, there is a rat in the chinchilla's cage. And so my mom's like, what's going on? So we go in, and as we look closer, you can see like a little tail, and then we both realized that it was a baby chinchilla. Oh geez. So I mean, I had no idea. I know it sounds ridiculous how you wouldn't know the difference between a girl and a boy chinchilla. I'm not going to talk about the difference. You seriously go look it up if you're really curious. It is actually really hard to tell the difference between them. So I had no idea it was a girl, and all of a sudden there's this baby chinchilla I had no idea was even gonna come, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I'm like Googling, is she gonna have more? And so they say to immediately separate her from the male and the baby, because sometimes the dad can like kill the babies. And so I put her in a different cage with the baby, and then she had another baby, and they can have up to like 5. And so I was like freaking out. I was like, what am I gonna do? Luckily she only had the 2, and they were so cute. Like, they were adorable. They were tiny. Like, they could fit in the palm of your hand. They were so little and furry, and it was so cute. So I had 4 chinchillas on my hands, and you're not supposed to really keep the babies with the dad, and they were both males from what we could tell. They get kind of aggressive, so I kept them all separate. And 4 chinchillas is a lot to take care of. I had a really big 3-tier cage for them to like run and jump around in, but they're kind of messy, and it was just a lot for me to take care of. So I did end up selling them, and I sold them in pairs, so it wouldn't be sad that they were like alone. So I sold the mom with one of the babies and the dad with one of the babies, so they could at least go with somebody else, I guess, so it's not just selling them individually. So I'm kind of sad I had to sell them, but it was just getting too much, and I live in Utah, and it gets really hot in the summer, and they live in like the snowy mountain region, so they can only take up to 70-degree heat, and it gets to like 100 here in Utah. So it was hard to keep them in the summer because it would get so hot. I had to buy like an extra air conditioner to put in my room because they get overheated. So it wasn't really the best, I think, for my situation. So they went to good homes, but it was so crazy. I mean, that was an ultimate experience. My mom said that when she saw my face, she said I was just like ghost white because I was just so terrified. I had no idea what this was, and I was not expecting it at all, and it was so crazy. But they were adorable. We had them for I think a few more months, like almost 6 months before I sold them, and I made sure I took care of them and kept them away from the dad. I'd slowly kind of introduce them so that nothing bad happened. But if you're gonna get pets like that, you have to do a lot of research, which I didn't, because they're very exotic pets, and they actually are hard to kind of make them like you. I didn't really have a good relationship with either of them, and it's a lot of work. So I wish I would have done more research before I would have bought one, because I probably would have realized that it wasn't good for my lifestyle. I just wouldn't be able to take care of them properly. So if you're ever going to buy an exotic pet like that, definitely do your research, make sure you kind of know. And I think it's important to know where you're getting them from too. I'm pretty sure the chinchilla that I bought from the pet store, the boy, I'm pretty sure he was like abused, because he would not even let me like pet him, like, because you would just put like 2 fingers on their head so that you didn't like freak him out, but he just wouldn't even let me do that. And he did bite me one time, and it hurt really bad. So but it was a fun experience. They're adorable creatures, and it was really fun, but it was a pretty crazy experience. So that's my chinchilla story. But anyways, so as you can see, the build is coming pretty much to an end, and like I said, it's pretty old school inside, with the kind of torn up looking floors, and the like aluminum blue siding. Like, it's pretty old fashioned. I thought that would just be kind of fun to do something different. And I wanted to make sure I put other trees around besides just palm trees, since it is meant to be in like Windenburg and not an actual like tropical place. So you should see some of the other entries in this tag because there's some really good ones. I'm like, well, I kind of realized they branched out a little bit more with decorating, so then that's probably when I realized that I could have done a little bit more decorating differently, but it was my first one and I just wanted to kind of experiment with it. So I will be doing some others just for my Thursday videos because I do enjoy building. It's one of the things I really want to do on my channel more. So, but the screenshots are coming up. There's a few things to do in here. I put garden pots, as you can see right now. There's a fire pit. I kind of realized I actually did forget to put a barbecue. I probably should have put one there, so you might want to add that because I think that would be pretty helpful. The view from like the porch to like the ocean in Windenburg is super gorgeous, so that's something I was pretty happy with having. And you know, usually I go pretty ham with like landscaping, but I wanted to keep it a little simple because I figured, you know, it is old, it's maybe been harder to like keep up on for the people. I don't have necessarily a family in mind. It would be really cool if you could like go to the little island in Windenburg as a vacation spot and have this just be like an old beach house. That would be a cheap like vacation home. There is a mod that turns Windenburg into like the Granite Falls like type of reservation vacation spot, and I did actually do that in my game one time, but you can't go anywhere else in Windenburg unless you're going on vacation, if that makes sense. So that's the only part that sucks, but I guess if you really are interested in having like a beach style, you can do that. Or I know there's a mod that turns Granite Hill or Granite Falls into like a beach, but I don't know. I guess I'll just wait until we get an expansion that's beach related. Probably won't happen anytime soon, but I guess I'd rather just wait. But it'd be really nice to have that. I never played The Sims 3. I played The Sims 2. So but I've seen a lot of gameplay of Island Paradise from Sims 3, but I've also heard a lot of people saying how buggy it is and stuff. But I remember the beach from Sims 2, and it was just it was so fun. So I can't wait until we get that in Sims 4, but until then. So this is where I'm just adding it on the gallery for you guys to download. The screenshots are coming up, so I'll kind of explain those. But this is really fun to do. I've actually never built a beach house before. It's not my personal taste, and you know, I don't have a beach here in Utah or anything, so it's not surrounding me, but it was pretty fun. So here's the blueprint challenge basically, so you can kind of read her directions there. So, and here's my little entry for that, my little beach house. So here's like the living room. It's pretty simple. I do kind of like the old wood. I think it looks kind of fun. Looks nice. There's the kitchen. Looks pretty good. The tile is definitely old-fashioned. Here's a bedroom. I would kind of imagine it's like maybe a group of like young adults come here for like spring break or something like that, just because I didn't do like a master bedroom or anything like that. So it's just like the 4 beds in the 2 different rooms. There's the bathroom. Kind of try to put, you know, the little blue theme in there. So here's the backyard with the garden pots, and you can see like the view is really beautiful. So